sun setting soon into the night. Nowhere to turn in this bitter season, changing leaves in failing light, calls of the crows, no more distant thunder. I've seen yet another spring and summer come and go. Dropped like a knife, stripped like a wire, dreaming the spark, frozen in flight. Life in the dark breathes its very own fire, and there ashes can be found. A time when the snow still filled us with wonder. Now to have seen yet another spring and summer come and go. Takes its toll. We're not getting no younger, holding on to this rock as it circles the sun. So hold on, everyone, just a little bit longer. As the shadows grow, so must our souls. For as the shadows grow, for as the shadows grow, so must our souls. As the shadows grow, so must our souls. I'm really happy with that, the melody going to G over the A minor. For as the shadows grow, I'm playing A minor. I could play A minor 7, but I'm making A minor. I'm singing the 7 with my voice. For as the shadows grow, so must our souls. And then this is an old song with a story, a painful story attached to it, not behind it so much, attached to it. Oh man! And most of my songs tend to be on the longish side, and this one, I mean, pretty short. First chorus, that was the bridge. And then, yeah, so I wrote this long story short. It was going to be my final performance at a music festival that I used to. The man from whom, dear old friend from whom I adopted this here bunny rabbit, he started that festival, and he and I used to help him run it twice a year, spring and fall. And it was going to be the last hurrah after 15, 17 years, I forget how many years. right in the middle of Seoul, in a neighborhood called Haebangchon, HBC. And I was really out of practice. I hadn't been playing for a long time, but I felt like I had to. It was going to be the last festival, and I felt like I should get my shit together and play one final slot at that festival. And I was just so... It just wasn't in me. I tried really hard to prepare. It was so painful. I just didn't have it. I just didn't have the jam. And this is one of the songs that I wrote for that show. At the time, I thought it was nothing remarkable. I felt like I was just going through the motions. And then I went to the festival, and I got up in my set, and I played like I had been going through the motions and was going through the motions, because I had been and was. And it was terrible and embarrassing, humiliating to me. And, well, after that, that was probably 3 years ago. It was the final festival. It was the fall festival. And I'd written this song, I thought I'd write a fall song, called Perennial. I thought I would write a song for the season, I have seen yet another spring and summer come and go. And, but turns out it was a fine song. I mean, it has potential. Not a bad song at all. It can be a lot better. I think it will be a lot better. But is that it? What do I do? Do I end it there after the bridge? Do I do an outro? Do I do another verse and chorus? I don't want to do another verse and chorus. That would really be going through the motions. I don't want to write another verse and chorus. Why should I? Just for the sake of formula? No. Fuck that. The truth is, I could do anything. I could do anything. And I'm not in the least concerned about it at all. I'll be honest, I really like this song now. I mean, I'm saying it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But actually, I was going through some old papers earlier. Oh, God, I remember this. Oh, shit, yeah, I remember that. I start heaping the ashes over my head over the memory. Just the embarrassment and the humiliation that I felt. That lasted for about a good 2-3 minutes. And then I was like, hey, yeah, well, fuck it. That's history. I got a song here. What do I do with it? Can I remember it? I remembered it's probably 85% what it was. I didn't have full recall, so I just sort of took what I remembered and kind of rewrote it. I think it's better than it was then. This is so short, man. I could do that in under 2 minutes, I think. But here's the thing, okay. This is just kind of an impromptu talk about the The power of it's such a cliche. It really is. And I don't like cliches, but sometimes it's like stereotypes. Stereotypes, they have some underpinning in reality, right? The art of not giving a fuck. And the power of not giving a fuck. But that really sounds cliche-ish. You know, the power of not giving a fuck. I don't mean it like that. Although there is power in it. There's tremendous power in it. But if you if you conceive of it in the wrong way and you go about it in the wrong way, then that could be really counterproductive and even detrimental. I don't know. In my New Year's Eve story talk, I talked about getting in the car on the way home with my new microphone, and there's that compulsion to rush home, drive really fast, get home. Run, don't even take the elevator, run up the stairs, hook it up. And no, I'm not doing that. I'm not being compulsed. I know the verb is compelled, but I'm saying compulsed because I like it. I'm not being compulsed. And the same goes for my muses, right? I'm not a slave to my muses anymore. And the muses are traditionally female entities, right? They're feminine. And no man should be in thrall to any female. Shall I repeat that? No grown-ass man is in thrall to anything but, dare I say it, the transcendent and the divine, such as he can occasionally catch glimpses. Intimations. Like when you wake up from one of those dreams that it's like a star up in the sky, and you can see it when you don't look at it. You see it twinkling over there in your side vision. But the second you try to look at it, it's gone. And I can remember the way I used to be. I was neurotic about music. I was neurotic about anything creative. I was in thrall. I allowed my own estimations of my own worth as a writer, as a musician, as an artist. I allowed that to dominate my consciousness, dictate what I did and how I felt, define my existence in a way. And that's being cucked, to use sort of modern contemporary slang. It's not good. I, I dug up this song a couple days ago. I was like, yeah, I gotta close that circle. I gotta finish that song. Make it right. All right, I'll get around to it when I get around to it. Not before, not after, not sooner, not later. And then here, Mr. Chance, Mr. Bunny Rabbit here got really sick, man. This poor guy. This guy is 100 years old, human years. And he got just he'd been feeling pretty rough, but then he really took a turn for the worse yesterday. And then that's all I could focus on, getting him to the doctor, making sure I had enough money to pay for it. He had enteritis, big old gut infection. They x-rayed him. He had these big gas pockets in his torso, and man, he was one miserable creature, this guy. And he didn't want to have anything to do with me. He was hiding in corners and suffering, and yeah, so I took care of him. Now he's gotten his antibiotics and probiotics, and now he's sitting in my lap and enjoying my presence. He's enjoying being with me, and I with him. And you might think that it's kind of unmanly or unseemly or both, for a grown-ass man to go on about his rabbit. But what's really it's I feel like I've got to be so careful with my words on YouTube. Certain words you can't say. I can't talk like I normally do. It's my old self would have been so neurotic about the song. I might not have even noticed how much my little friend here was suffering. And that is like, man, to be like that is to be like a bundle of sticks. You know what I mean? To be the king of your domain, such as it is, whatever it is. I'm not a good singer. I'm not a good guitar player. I'm not a good musician. I'm not. Well, by normal standard definitions, okay? It's like I've got, like we all do, I've got blocks, blind spots. There's certain things that my brain won't do. My brain just absolutely rebelled at. I loved math and right through geometry. Geometry, I had like a 110% average on the year. because I did all the extra credit. And I was perfect on every homework and every test. And chemistry, which uses stoichiometry, which is very similar to geometry, theorems and proofs and stuff. And I was great at that. I was so good at that I could, one time I was in high school and there was a final exam in chemistry, and the teacher didn't like me. And I was really sick. I was too tired to write out all of the stoichiometry proofs or theorems or whatever, the steps. I was so exhausted, and I was going through so much at home. I mean, it was a miracle I was even there in the classroom taking the exam. And I just did all the problems in my head and just wrote the answers down. And the teacher failed me. She gave me an F. And well, I contested it, and I ended up retaking the exam in the principal's office and acing it, getting 100. And she had to apologize to me. See, that was back when America was still a sane country. I'm so glad that I grew up there when I did. That country's gone, long gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, then I hit algebra. And my brain saw numbers and letters of the alphabet getting mixed up and just, not doing this. Nope. All you have to do is just memorize the rules. Just memorize the rules and use them. No. I was okay in high school, but I had a lot of problems at home. I got a straight B average in high school, 3.0000. Then I went off to university, and after 5 years of university, 2 majors, 1 minor, I had a cumulative GPA of, I think, 3.92. And the only things I ever got less than an A were I had to take an algebra class. The other one was an art history class, and I just didn't care about it. But anyway, the point being, same thing with music theory, man. Just my brain just won't do it. I've gotten like, look, I know my circle of fifths, and I have a very rudimentary grasp of it, right? Like, for example, I knew that, that's an A minor, and I'm singing G over the A minor, so that's creating with my voice and the guitar an A minor 7. It's like my brain, just through sheer force of habit and doing it again and again and again, it's like I can get that far. But I watch like a Rick Beato, and I just feel like it just makes me feel so stupid. Or it did. It doesn't anymore. That's the point of this video. That's why I'm kind of, this is totally unpremeditated. I just was sitting here thinking about all these things and thought I would just turn on the camera, turn on the microphone, and I had just finished recording notes for this song. I sit in front of the camera and I get all the ideas on camera, and the melodies on the fretboard, so that, because I tend to I think I have something, and then 2 hours later, it's gone. So I just, there's the camera's still rolling, the mic's still on. But not rolling. The camera's still there, mic's still there. Well, why not? Yeah. It's like, I used to think, I used to have this, oh, I'm a tortured artist. I'm a tortured. No, man, it was just I was torturing myself. Isn't that the way of things for the most part? I mean, there are some cases where you really truly are a victim of other people or outside forces that are totally beyond your control. That's a thing, obviously. But there's also a lot of things where you're just something that you're doing to yourself, or it could be. I believe in demonic. I believe in the demonic. There are demons. It could be that too, but they can't do that to you unless you enable it. I think I'm no expert on that, but I think for the most part, it's like the vampire. You got to invite them in. Then they can have their way with you. Right? That's why I can't even have I can't have one sip of alcohol, because that's just letting the vampire in the door. Right? So this other thing, this spirit of torment that I used to feel, and this feeling of, it was so paralyzing. But then, I'd go through these frenetic periods of I used to be kind of bipolar, right? And so I'd be depressed and unable to write or do anything, for months, years at a time, man. Just paralyzed. And then go into a frenetic, manic, creative spate. But I was enthralled to it. And being enthralled to it produced inferior results every time. Same reason why, at least for me, I used to smoke, I used to enjoy the herb, right? And it's great music is so fun with pot, right? Good herb. And you think that you think you're being so creative, and it's just so deep, and it's wonderful. It's fun, but it's ultimately false. And also the same thing with alcohol. Alcohol also kind of would give me that false confidence, false creativity. And then you write something you think is so good, and then next day, if you didn't write it down or record it, it's forgotten, or you did, and then next day or the week or thereafter, it's not that good. It's not what you thought it was, because you're not the same consciousness as you were when you I guess I shouldn't speak in the second person. This is all my experience, right? When I was creating it, right? And I've got a friend here who's he knows he should quit. He should quit drugging, and alcohol's drugging too, right? But it makes him feel creative, and it's fun to be creative under the influence, and he's afraid that he won't be creative anymore. And it's yeah, well, you might not be. Yeah, you give up the influences, the substances, and yeah, you might be creatively just a total wet noodle for a while. Just nothing. But here's the thing. You got to be okay with that. If you're not okay with that, you're not living, not really living. When you're in thrall, and I'm just gonna use the second person because why not? If you're in thrall to your creativity, if you're in thrall to the muses, if you're their bitch, if your happiness depends on indulging your creative impulses, if that's where your riches are, your wealth, you're very poor indeed. And no woman is a respecter of any man who's enthralled to her. It's just a fact of life, man. As below, so above. The muses respect no man who's enthralled to them. And they can be very, very cruel indeed. But if a man puts himself in thrall to the muses, he's bringing it on himself. Lately, I'm very sure about what I've done lately. I'm so sure about it that, I don't know, man, if I got in a car accident and I lost my arms, and I could never play a guitar again, well, I'd probably find a way to, I'd probably get prosthetics and find a way to make music on the keyboard. That's how I play anyway. Wouldn't make any difference if I just had like these two prosthetic arms with like two-fingered hooks on the end of them. I could still, but you get my point, right? If I don't know, if I lost my ability to ever make music ever again, so be it, man. It doesn't define me. It doesn't define me. I'm free. I'm free of it. And because that is an existential fact of my being, not only is it not a problem, muses are like any other women. You sort of, sometimes I don't have the time of day right now. Oh, man. They'll pursue you. And they'll lavish you with even more. They'll give you things that you never even knew existed. And say, where's this coming from? Yeah. Yeah. And another aspect of this is, kind of another cliche, but again, these things have their roots in reality. Taking yourself too seriously. Sometimes you just got to play in the sandbox and be a kid. I have songs that I have a literal, like a sandbox in my project folder. I've got songs that if I feel like working on something musical, but I'm kind of like stuck on songs, or I'm just not, I don't know, the chords aren't coming, I'm not feeling it. Do I let that bother me? Fuck no. I got other things to do, man. I have other things to do. I clean the kitchen. Mop the floor with Pine Sol. I always feel great after I do stuff like that. I gotta, mop the floor with Pine Sol. The whole place smells great. Open the windows, let that winter wind scour out the bugs, you know. Sit down, read a book, read some poetry, read some of my favorite poets. Spend some time with my bunny rabbit here. I ain't enthralled to no Muses, man. And ever since that became the case, they love me. They love me more than I love them. And so there's no problem. It doesn't matter. I could just like stop this song right after the bridge. And even if I know that it could be a lot more, does it really matter? Isn't it all? I mean, look. Is it all subjective? Yes and no. Yes and no. Are there objective realities about beauty and truth? Yeah, there are. But, you know, there's also a lot of subjectivity in there too. There's a part of me that thinks, yeah, should probably have, it'd be nice to have one song that's like 2 minutes, man. Maybe just exercise a little restraint. But it's not a problem. It's not a source of anxiety. I know I can go either way. It doesn't matter. I don't have to do it now. It can wait till tomorrow, the next day. I can do whatever I want tonight. After I do this, I think I'm going to finish up this song. Maybe I'm Cursed. It needs some drum fills. And then I think it's pretty much good to go. And that's just kind of like, that's the cup of tea I'm in the mood for. And I really, really, really have zero fucks to give what anybody else thinks about it, with a few exceptions, very few exceptions. But even those people, very few people whose opinions I value very much, and people whom I admire, whose minds I admire, whose hearts and talents and estimations I respect and admire. They could tell me that something I did is, hey man, it's no good. Okay. Why? You got, reasons. Okay. And I can truly hear it like, well, I could agree with that. But that one, I don't agree with that. I have that in me now. I don't feel one way or another about it. It's not it's such a beautiful thing to be rid of that. If it's liberating. But I will say this also. All the frustration and pain and all the torture I've been through, and all the months and years when I just was paralyzed and couldn't do anything, so full of self-doubt, torturing myself, Would I change that? No. Would I reclaim those years and not have gone through that? No. And I'm not even going to try to explain why. There's no point. It's the kind of thing that once you've been through that valley and you come out the other side and you got a perspective, you know, you have power that you never knew existed in you. It's not even totally in you either. It's able to come through you. And a lot of that is just the art of really genuinely not giving a fuck. Truly not giving a fuck. And it's the same as it is in relationships with a girl. You know, you can act like a woman and be passive aggressive and like make a little ultimatum. All right, well, this is it. I'm not calling you anymore. This is my terms, and you call. You know, if you're interested, you call me. You better fucking mean it when you say that, because if you don't, they know. You can't fool them. But the thing is, if you really, really, really mean it, you don't even have to say it. You won't even get to that point where it's necessary to have to say that. They feel it. They know it. And then there's no need for emotion. Emotion has its place. But if you let yourself be ruled by it, oh God, you know. But again, you know, it's not about good or bad. It's not about should or shouldn't. It's part of the process. It's part of some people's journey. I hate to use that word journey. It's so trite. I take it back. It's part of the process. It's part of the hero's quest, man. The quest for fire. Although it's not really, in this case, it's not really a quest for fire. It's a quest for something else. But anyway, sometimes you just have to go through the shit. It's okay. You don't have to feel one way or another about it. It's okay to not, it's just okay to not do it. Could be that there's other things in your life that are just demanding the dedication that you want to invest in music and creativity. That's another possibility. There's some part of you that a very wise part of you that knows that you're kicking a can down the road that you shouldn't be kicking down the road. You need to be dealing with that shit right now, because if you don't, yeah, it could be, you know, and it could be things that I haven't even thought of or not talking about. Could be, I'm just talking from my experience, obviously. But gratitude, humility, focus on the truly important things in life. This little rabbit, you think, it's just a rabbit. Me too, man. I used to go out and shoot these things and skin them and chop them up and eat them. It's life on planet Earth, man. What a fucking trip, huh? But this is my friend. When I had nobody, and I mean nobody, by my side getting off of alcohol. Sorry to say it, not even the long-suffering Mrs., man. She had no understanding of what I was going through. I don't blame her for it. It's just what it is what it is. Of course, this guy has no idea either. This is like one sentient being in my life that was always there, never judging me. You know, always just right there. And he's 100 years old in human years, and he's not going to be around too much longer. And even though he's just an old rabbit, he's important. And when he's gone, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him more than I love any song I ever did. I'm going to miss him more than I've ever been proud of any piece of music I ever wrote. Whatever it is, don't be in thrall. Don't be. That's the idea anyway. That's an idea anyway. That's an idea. That's something to think about. Don't be enthralled. Don't be enthralled. Be free. Freedom, man. I mean, gee, you know, what a precious, rare thing that is freedom. Real freedom. Freedom from the opinions of others, and freedom even from the opinions of yourself. That's some freedom, real freedom. And when you have that freedom, all kinds of doors open, man. All kinds of possibilities that you never knew existed. The doors just fly open everywhere. And the doors and the portals and the windows and flying open everywhere. And if you're the same in that moment, if you're the same being that you were when you were in thrall, you'd lose your mind. You would lose your fucking mind. And instead you just go, all right. Glad that's there. I gotta wash the dishes. Maybe it'll be there when I get back. If it's not, life goes on. There are things that are more important. Like, how can I be a more skillful husband? I need to make some more money. How am I going to do that? Yeah. Shit's fucking important, man. I'm not good at it either. I need to get better at it. I need to get better at it. I do. I need more of that stuff. I've never had money. I need some. I'm getting old in a country without a social safety net of any kind. Right? What should I call this video? I was going to call it On the Art of Not Giving a Fuck, but yeah, it's too clickbaity and too cliche and stupid. How about Don't Be Enthralled to Your Muses? Normally, I'm not in the habit of telling other people what to do. And that is, what do you call that? In the second person, an imperative statement. Don't. Normally, I'm not about that. But I kind of I'd like to put it out there more as an idea, a proposition. How about this? Consider this as a proposition, as a rule for the road. Don't be enthralled to your muses. And so if it comes off as imperative, well, I don't give a fuck. That's not how I mean it. And it's not going to make any difference anyway. Nobody watches these videos except for, yeah, well, see, I shouldn't talk dismissively like that because I'm very appreciative and indeed. I say that, I talk like that way self-deprecatingly. Not deprecating DJ Nenko and Josh. I think you maybe started watching these things again. And Josh, you seem to be going through a creative crisis over there. So anyway, I was just ruminating on this stuff with my bunny in my lap and just finished working on this song. It just seemed like nice to do something a little different. Play a little something live that's rough. Be a little vulnerable, man. Real men can be vulnerable. Yeah. And just, talk a little philosophy. Why not? All right. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah. I've said more than enough. So I'm gonna put this little man in his kennel and pour myself a Coca-Cola. Yeah, I know I shouldn't drink Coca-Cola. I don't give a fuck. I enjoy Coca-Cola when I'm making my videos. Yeah. And maybe I'll make a video while I'm doing drum fills for Maybe I'm Cursed. And I'll master it for Luffs at the same time. Yeah, that's good times. Good times, man. Good times. I am so lucky. Jesus. God knows where I'd be if I wasn't here. And really, I shouldn't be here. It's a miracle I'm here and not dead or locked away somewhere. Gratitude, freedom. Be a king. Be the king of your kingdom. Over and out.